I know I'm starting the intro with spooky violins, and you may think this is spooky season, but unfortunately, no, it is not spooky season yet. It is not even summer yet when I'm recording this. It is June the 1st, 2023. If you're listening to this in some weird, distant, utopian future. But as you heard by the spooky violins at the beginning, I was in the mood to record a spooky episode. Spooky. I don't know how to do sound effects in editing, so I'm just going to give you an echo. Spooky. So now that you're totally spooked, because yes, you should be, I wanted to do a spooky episode because most of my episode ideas for this show comes when I'm sitting at work and I'm zoned out. No, not zoned out, but like your mind wanders. So I'm at work, I'm sitting in an office, and I got an idea for this because I listen to a lot of podcast episodes. You're listening to a podcast episode. Congrats. And for a while, I don't say for a while, my current like trend of podcasts that I listen to are either tech, with like video games and tech news and stuff like that, and true crime and spooky unsolved mystery stuff. So literally 8 hours of work, that's all I listen to. So it's going to play on your mind. But there's like a couple things that like stood out, because you're working, you're not paying too much attention. You're listening to it. You're trying to do the two brain thing. No, the one brain, two hemisphere thing, I should say. But a couple things stood out for like random episodes of true crime I was listening to. I can't remember which podcast, which true crime or unsolved or cold case or solved cases. I listened to like a bunch of those random ones on Spotify. But they were talking about a murder that happened where a father had killed his wife and children in their house they lived in. And I think it led to that happened like way in the past. Then it led to the house being haunted later on. I think it was the house. There's a house in California, somewhere in LA, that's rumored to be haunted because nobody has lived in it since. People have bought it since, but they refuse to live in it. And it just sat, I guess squatters were living in there, but there were pictures taken of it once where just the old stuff from when the family or their father who killed the whole family once lived, like there's just stuff there. I think I might be like mixing the stories up, but that's not the whole thing that stuck with me. The part that stuck with me, there was a line, because I think it was a couple of kids, and one was coming home and caught the father in the act of killing. Sorry for if this is upsetting to anyone. It's a real true crime, but and there was a line that stuck out on me that the podcast host said, that this is what the father said to one of the kids as he caught him. Not caught him, but saw him like in a trance going to kill the rest of the family. He looks at one of the kids, says, "Go back to bed. It's a real nightmare here," while holding a bloody hammer that he used to kill with. And I was like, that just stuck with me as like, you would see that in a horror movie. Just like walking in on a horrific site, which this child unfortunately did, and somebody like your father or whoever just is holding a bloody hammer and says, "Go back to bed. It's a real nightmare here." I think that's what led to the story of the house being haunted, like the father was possessed or something. I can't remember. I've listened to too many and they're all blending together. But of course I'm sitting in an office setting and I'm like, what if a horror happened in an office setting? And then that was a scene from it. And then I was listening to another tech podcast, or I saw this news article or heard something about it, about this new, I don't want to say new, but it's a new product. It's called, not Cypher. I'm looking at it right now. Space Top. It's basically, I think it's a laptop, but it's like AR, augmented reality. It's like, it comes with these kind of AR glasses you put over your head, and it makes put over your eyes, I should say. And it basically makes, instead of you looking at your laptop screen, the screen is the whole, your whole peripheral perception of what you're looking at. And you look around and you move your head and the screen will move with you. And you could have multiple screens. You can have huge wide screens and all that because it's everything your eyes are seeing. And I was thinking about that as like a workspace of like you sitting in this kind of futuristic workspace where you just have this glass headset or a VR headset around you, and you're not looking at a computer screen. Your computer screen could be, manipulated to whatever you're seeing and all this stuff. And then the horror of that go back to bed is a real nightmare thing stuck with me. I was like, what if I blend those two, the office setting, also the daytime? I really am intrigued by horror settings that are set in the daytime with the sun out. You don't see that much. Horror is always at night, and a dark building, a haunted house at night or something like that, midnight. You rarely see horror movies set during the day. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna put these two together. Of a horror movie with kind of in the futuristic, where technology plays a big part. And one of like the visuals I had was like this AR headset thing you're sitting at your desk, and you have this VR or AR headset around your eyes, and you're working whatever you do in the future. If you're typing or if you're manipulating something with your hands, and kind of some kind of VR, situation, but you're physically in an office, but then you see something on the screen and it freaks you out. And you also have earbuds in your ear. This is another thing. I wear noise canceling earbuds that have not surround sound, but it's called spatial audio. You can figure out who makes them. I'm not going to shout them out, but they're amazing. So like when you move your head, it feels like the audio is moving. It's like that old feeling of when audio will go from like left to right. It's like that always. And it can get because it's noise canceling, and it's like you get very closed atmospheric. You're not paying attention to everything that's going around you. A lot of times that's happened with me, where like you'll hear a song and it will be a sudden like noise in a song, or a sudden like high or a pounding sound, and then you'll jump because you forget where you are and because you're so in the zone with the noise canceling and all that stuff. So I was like, that could be part of it. So you're in like this technological induced just tunnel or zone, and you're not realizing what's happening around you in this office. And so another thing was that like kind of creeps me out, so I will put it in there too. Being in a place during the day, I'll say during the day because we're going with that theme, where it's usually a bunch of people, like in an office. Like if I work in an open office, so you constantly see other people move around. They're in their offices. You're in an open workspace, like a store or a mall, or in a train station or somewhere where there's constantly a lot of people. But in the horror setting, you're the only one there, and it's unnaturally quiet. Like you have this, if you walked into an office every day and you're used to seeing the same people every day, but all of a sudden you're in the office and you catch yourself and you look around and you're the only one there. And it's like daytime, and other people should be there, and you should be hearing people on phone calls or typing or walking around or printing stuff, but there's no other sound, and you're the only one there, and you don't know how you got there. It's one of those like dream things where you just realize where you are, and you can't figure out if you should be there, if you should be alone, if everybody's left or what. So that's my horror setting. So of course that's my setting. That's what I'm going for. I gotta hit up my chatbot AI writing partner, see what they kick out. So this is my prompt: a horror movie set in a typical office setting during the day. Exactly what I just spit out to you all. So this is what chat AI brought back to me. The title is Cubicle Nightmare. Logline: in the heart of a bustling corporate office, a group of employees become trapped in a surreal and terrifying nightmare when a supernatural force awakens, preying on their deepest fears and turning their mundane work environment into a nightmarish battleground where survival is uncertain. That's another thing in my horror idea, whatever. It's, I wouldn't say first person, but there's only one person in it. So I don't know if it's like, if anybody plays video games, if it's like Portal, where you're being talked to by a computer. That's what I said with like the AI thing on in your ears and on your eyes. In my setting, I would have it where you try to take it off, but it's like melded to your face. So sorry, this is if it's a trigger warning for anybody who has any kind of thing. If like when you try to, like, there'd be the visual in the horror movie when like the person is trying to pull it off and it's like stuck to their face and you see their skin pulling off with, sorry if that's gross to anyone. And the same thing with the earbuds. I have like, if you have like, imagine earbuds in your ear and you went to grab it to pull it out and it wouldn't, it's like melded, like the metal is melting, or the metal or plastic or electronics are melding into your ear onto your skin and like your cartilage. Imagine that in a horror movie. So that's what's happening. So one person, they're trying to get out of this visual because they're not in control of what they're seeing or hearing anymore. Someone else, maybe it's an AI. Hopefully not a chatbot. Hopefully he's not planning anything. But no, so that's why I said like a horror in an office setting, and technology may be the enemy, kind of like Portal. Play video games. There's also a video game called the Stanley Parable that I was thinking about, where in this game you're in an office setting and you kind of are like, it's like a first person view when you move around. Like say you would turn a corner or go into another room, the whole setting would change. And it keeps changing and it's generating, and you have like this computer voice telling the story or guiding you, or it keeps going. So I was thinking about like the one person in this, and then they're trying to move around. Like that's what I said. They have the AR glasses. They can kind of see where they're going, but there's also screens popping up. So they don't know if they're in control, if they're being guided, but they can only see certain things. And they're trying to walk around in this office. Okay, so back to with AI. So the synopsis for Cubicle Nightmare. Cubicle Nightmare takes place in a typical office building, like I said, where the mundane routines and monotonous work days are about to take a sinister turn. That's what I said, like you're in your routine place that you go through every day, Monday through Friday, but then you realize you're alone. Something isn't right. The story follows a diverse group of employees, in my version of just be one, who find themselves trapped within their workplace during a seemingly ordinary workday. Of course, it'll be a Monday. You have to set it on a Monday. At first, subtle signs of something, I don't know how to say this word, AWRY, awry, emerge. A flickering light here, an unexpected whisper there. Sorry, I had to burp. As the day progresses, the employees begin experiencing eerie occurrences, including objects mysteriously moving, strange sounds echoing through the hallways, and glimpses of shadowy figures lurking in the periphery. So that's another visual I would have. I always have that thing. I just have it was like one or two nightmares where it's you're in a room, but the room seems really long. Like you're in the one end of it. And the way your perception of the other end of the room seems very far away. And there's something at the other end. I've seen this in a couple horror movies. It's usually like something floating or like a ghostly apparition or something like that. It's usually all in black. And it's moving slowly, but then it realizes you're there and it moves like really fast straight toward you. That would be like that. Like you're walking through those like office corridors. And you're not sure if what you're seeing is actually there or if it's an apparition. In this case, with the technology, it would be on this like the AR screen in front of your face that you can't take off. You can't tell if it's actually there or it's a projection. Okay, back to synopsis. Soon it becomes clear that a malevolent supernatural force is awakened within the office. As employees struggle to comprehend the situation, they realize that their worst fears are manifesting before their eyes. One employee is haunted by the ghosts of a deceased coworker, while another finds themselves trapped in an endless cycle of reliving a traumatic event. See, and that's another thing, like Are you reliving something that happened that was hidden? Like somebody hid it and you accidentally found it, and you're like, the deeper you dig, the more you find out about it in this like new technology, but it's something that happened in the past. Yeah, so the once familiar office setting turns into a labyrinth of terror as the employees are separated and forced to confront their deepest fears individually. Desperate to survive, they must uncover the origins of the supernatural force and find their way to break free from this grip. In this case, the grip will be the technology, what's in their ears and on their AR headsets. Okay. Navigating through dimly lit corridors, stifling cubicles, and eerie meeting rooms, the employees form alliances, uncover dark secrets, and face their personal demons. As they delve deeper into the office's history, they unearth a dark secret linked to an ancient curse that has plagued their building for years. I wouldn't go that far, but another thing, like using, what is it called? Night Cafe AI, like image generator. I have created some creepy images. So like anytime I'm writing something, like I'll come up with an idea of this, but then I'll jump to the next point of how does it progress and how does it end? So I don't see that many I don't see that many horror movies, I should say. But I do like the idea and stories of horror movies. So to me, like, I don't know how a good horror movie ends. If it ends like super unrealistic or super like typical, like throughout the whole experience of a horror movie, you go through all the jump scares, all the surprises, all the twists and turns. Would a person be more happy to just get it to a typical ending, or are they surviving all that to get to a good ending? And I said it because I still have to create the website, but it'll be on the Instagram, the Dumb Test Slate Instagram. Like there's those images that were created where, because I did the same prompt horror movie set in an office, where one of the like set of images is kind of like this dreary like open space. It kind of looks like a church and an office combined with like the windows, but there seems to be some kind of creepy like sacrifice thing going on, or I can't think of the word for that. I can't think of the proper word, but I'll say meeting. So since it's the office setting, a creepy old meeting. I can't think of the word right now. That's all right. Like that would be the ending. If like the person makes it through all this, they rip off the technology and they realize they're in this older setting and there's all these like weird things going on around them, and this kind of, not that they've time traveled, but the setting they're actually in is much different from what they've been experiencing. And they're like kind of, there's this, I cannot think of the word that I'm trying to think about. Okay, I rebooted myself. The word I was trying to think of is ritual. So the ending, one of the endings I thought about would be the person discovers they're in a different atmosphere than an actual office. That was just a setting that was like being programmed to them or being projected to them, and they're actually in this weird Masonic temple or something, and there's this weird ritual they walk in on, that'll be like leading to the end. Or to combine it with technology, that it's so far in the future that like I don't know if they're the last human left or they're one of the last ones, and they walk in and it's just like a robot or a cyborg or something, or they realize they're not human either and they're like a cyborg, or it's kind of like the Matrix thing. Because one of the like also the Night Cafe AI images, I create what they created from the prompt, horror movie set in an office. One of like the settings to get different images are like of like it's called Mechanic, I think. There's a steampunk one in the Mechanic, and it's like a futuristic where it's just like office part, like it's an office, but they're like just random robot parts sitting in the office. They realize it's the different time period and it's way in the future than they think, and robots run the world. Maybe that's one of the endings. But yeah, ritual is the word I was trying to think of. Okay, back to the ending. Yeah, the building has been plagued for years. Yeah, that's what I said. I was trying to think of they walk in and see it's a ritual going on. Okay, with time running out and their sanity unraveling, that's what I said. They don't know what's being real or being projected to them. The employee must confront the malevolent entity on hand. They discover that could be another thing. Like they think it's going to be a evil person where it's just like a robot pushing buttons and controlling things. They discover that only by uniting their strengths and facing their fears together, they can hope to defeat the supernatural force and escape the nightmarish office once and for all. Cubicle Nightmare is a spine-chilling horror film that explores the horrors lurking beneath the surface of everyday life and the powers of camaraderie in the face of unimaginable terror. Except for in mine, it's just one person. Maybe they find other people or they find robots to help them. But yeah, that's my Cubicle Nightmare. Of the crazy things I think of when I'm sitting at a cubicle listening to true crime horror stories and unsolved mysteries and all that stuff. Yeah, maybe I should write more horror stuff or come on, because I do have an idea for another one. I'll probably do it on the next episode, but it's horror, but not really horror, but like suspense horror in the way that it's kind of based on time traveling also. And I wonder what the prompt could. I'm trying to come up with the right prompt of what like I'm seeing. I always had this issue, like I can see a visual in my head of a story, but trying to get it out into words, it's always an issue. But I'll try to do that on the next episode. It's going to be like a not futuristic, but time travel. I won't say horror, suspense, or mystery type thing. But yeah, I want to do a horror. I don't watch horror movies. I'm terrified of them. But I can sit all day and listen to true crime and unsolved mysteries and all that stuff, all the cold cases, all that crazy stuff all day and not be affected. But put a horror movie on and I'm terrified. But yeah, well, I've gone over 20 minutes. I have been rambling. But if you stuck out through all this, thank you very much. It's still dumb test late. I'm becoming one with the AI chatbot and losing my identity. But no. But do check out the Instagram if you have social medias. If this is sometime in the late future and social media doesn't exist anymore, congrats. We did it. But no, if you're in current times, check out Dumb Test Late on Instagram. I've been posting all the pictures that I've also been creating with the AI Night Cafe bot. I'm still working on that website. It's still TBD. But I'll get it up because I want to put all the pictures and like the writing prompts and the episode links all in one place. And most people have access to websites. They're on the internet. But yeah, thanks for listening. This is my Cubicle Nightmare horror story. I hope you liked it. Yeah. So I ended there because I'm rambling now. But thanks for listening to Dumb Test Late, me and my AI chatbot buddy. See you guys later on the next one. Bye.